Let's completely shatter everything you thought you knew about where to live. Since day one, we're told success means packing up and moving to the big city. We chase the skyline, we hustle. But what if that big city dream is actually a massive scam? In this explainer, we're diving into a groundbreaking study that mapped the real-life satisfaction of hundreds of thousands of people. And honestly, the results are going to hit you like a ton of bricks.
So think about your own life for a second. Did you move to some sprawling, chaotic urban center expecting things to get better? We squeeze into tiny overpriced apartments, right? We sit in mind-numbing traffic every single day, all for the promise of opportunity. But the data we're looking at asks a pretty brutal question. What if you've got it completely backward? What if the city is literally draining away the exact things you moved there to find?
This isn't just a hunch. The hard data backs this up as a statistical fact. When researchers actually mapped out the absolute happiest and most miserable communities, a glaring pattern slapped them right in the face. The most crowded, densely packed cities, they ranked dead last in happiness. Meanwhile, the most joyous, highly satisfied people are actually living way out in the country, or at least in much smaller, less congested towns. The gap between this urban trap and the rural reality isn't some tiny margin of error. It is a massive, life-altering chasm.
Section 1. The hardcore mapping of 400,000 lives.
To uncover the absolute truth here, scientists didn't just look at lazy zip codes. They analyzed over 400,000 people, but they had to invent a completely new way to map them. Step 1, they completely ignored arbitrary city limits, because those standard borders just lump happy millionaires in with miserable commuters. Step 2, they mapped along actual roads and rivers. And Step 3, they carved the entire country into over 1,200 custom life zones, each perfectly capturing a real breathing cluster of about 300 to 500 people.
It's honestly like piecing together a giant puzzle. You can see how these distinct custom zones are drawn right along highways and railroads, tracking how people actually move and live their lives. This isn't some abstract government grid. This is the real physical geography of human life. And by isolating these specific zones, researchers found exactly where the happiness was hiding.
Section 2. The Unexpected Happiness Code. Let's see what actually separates the miserable from the blissful.
So they took all those custom zones and ranked them. The top 20% were the absolute happiest, and the bottom 20% were the most miserable. The biggest difference? Commute time and a sense of community belonging. In the happiest neighborhoods, the average commute is just a quick 17 minutes. The unhappiest? Significantly longer. But the real kicker is belonging. Unhappy zones are totally alienated. You spend hours in traffic only to return to a neighborhood where you know absolutely no one. It's literally a recipe for misery.
Now, get ready for the biggest shock of this whole explainer. You probably think money buys community happiness, right? Well, wrong. When comparing the absolute happiest neighborhoods against the most miserable ones, household income levels were practically identical, and unemployment rates also identical. We're told our whole lives to grind and move to the richest zip code, but across these extreme ends of the spectrum, income simply did not separate the miserable from the joyous.
Zero. That is the exact difference in the relevance of money here. Zero difference in unemployment holding them back, and zero difference in massive wealth pushing them forward. If you're living in a deeply unhappy neighborhood, doubling your neighbor's income doesn't suddenly fix the neighborhood's vibe. Money isn't the problem, and it is definitely not the solution.
Section 3. Why big cities actually drain you.
If you look at traditional economic metrics, the city looks like it's winning, but your life satisfaction is undeniably lower. Just look at the breakdown of this urban trap. Population density is massively higher, meaning you are constantly competing for space. Because of that, 25% of urbanites spend more than 30% of their income on housing, compared to just 18% out in rural areas. So you pay drastically more just to live right on top of each other. And that last metric is the real gut punch. Belonging plummets to 0.69. You are surrounded by millions of people, yet you feel entirely disconnected.
I really want this to sink in. Population density in the least happy areas is more than 8 times greater than in the happiest ones. 8 times. The more people you cram into a single space, the more the community's overall soul and satisfaction just seem to evaporate. We build these towering skyscrapers, we pack ourselves into subway cars like sardines, and mathematically, we are crushing our own life satisfaction. It's a pretty striking reality check on modern city living.
Section 4. Flaws and limitations. Because we have to look at the full picture.
Okay, before we all pack our bags and flee to the countryside, we do need to apply some strict academic scrutiny here.
there are a few blind spots. First up, correlation isn't causation. Do rural areas actually make you happier, or do naturally happy people just prefer a quiet rural life? Second, we have erased voices. This survey entirely excluded populations living on indigenous reserves, which is a massive gap in the data. And finally, there's subjective survey bias. Happiness is self-reported, and cultural expectations can definitely skew those numbers.
Section 5. Where to next? Bringing this all back home.
So, let's bring this massive mountain of data right back to your daily grind. We now have statistical proof that chasing the densest, most expensive urban real estate often leads straight to misery. A short commute and a genuine connection to your community beat out a higher median income every single time. You now know the truth about the great city happiness scam. You see the urban trap for what it is. Knowing all of this, are you still going to squeeze onto that crowded subway tomorrow morning? Think about it.